This is Habakkuk 2 and 4, and it reads, Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Verse 5, Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Verse 6, Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Verse 8, Habakkuk 2 and 8, Because thou hast spoiled many nations, and the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Call Haloyim La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the true teachers of Israel today. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, the house of David, the Habayah from Adawadah. I also want to give, salutations and blessings and peace to the 1/3 and to the brothers and the sisters that also listen and believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. To you also say Shalom. This is the brother Sakalah coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of the Rakah Kodash, the Holy Spirit, through Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So hopefully this lesson is edifying to the listeners, to the hopeful elect. And as you see this title, I'm going to jump right into it. This article is going to go and be the premise of the lesson. It's from Forbes.com and it's dated May the 3rd, 2020. It says Donald Trump and the Fed could be about to destroy the U.S. banking system. So that's what this, this is the beginning, of the end. We're witnessing the epic fall and collapse of Babylon the Great, which is America. So, this lesson is going to go into that. And it's this thick clay, which when you look up that thick clay, in the blue letter, it tells you that it's heavy debts, massive debt. That's that heavy clay. That's that thick clay. So Babylon is in heavy debt, which is going to be to the actual demise. In time, we're not going to be speaking about, stimulus programs and packages. We're just going to see the fall of Babylon altogether. We're going to witness anarchy in the streets and the collapse of the dollar, which is going to bring in civil unrest and which is going to bring in the time of Jacob's trouble, which is prophesied in the Holy Scriptures. So it says Donald Trump and the Fed could be about to destroy the U.S. banking system. So why would this be brought out by Forbes? Well, here's why. Donald Trump and the Federal Reserve have gone to extraordinary lengths to prop up the U.S. economy in recent weeks. The coronavirus pandemic and the lockdowns put in place to slow its spread have ravaged the U.S. economy, with the Fed and the Trump administration pumping a staggering $6 trillion into the system since March and taking interest rates back to record lows to keep it on its feet. So now we're seeing, because of all this artificial money being pumped into the economy, which is not backed, the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything. So it's artificial money, or what you would call fiat currency when you look it up. It says, now as the coronavirus reality of a post-coronavirus world sinks in, President Trump and the Fed are edging closer to negative interest rates, something legendary investor Warren Buffett has warned could have extreme consequences. And those extreme consequences, and we've seen this before, and this is, historical, when rates are brought to zero for X amount of time, it leads to financial uncertainty and the crash of the market. That's typically what follows that. It says negative interest rates, meaning borrowers are paid to take out loans by the lender, have been adopted by a number of central banks around the world, led by some European central banks and the Bank of Japan. If a central bank sets its overnight deposit rate to below zero, lenders must pay their central bank to hold their reserves. Banks could then pass those costs on to their customers, charging fees for positive balances. So now you see how this, economically would be peril, lowering the interest rates over time. So that was all I wanted out of this article. But you see, first and foremost, I started in Habakkuk 2 and 4. It says, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, speaking of the so-called white man. Esau, the devil, the deceiver on the planet. Yashatan, the adversary. He's the one that's adverse to life. He's adverse to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He's adverse to the righteous, Yasha Allah. He's adverse to everything, that is righteous. He's the man of sin. He's the wicked. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. He's the son that's going into perdition. So verse 5, it says, he transgresses by wine. And what is that wine? His philosophies. He's a proud man. Going back to Obadiah, the 1st chapter. Esau is a proud man. It says he neither keepeth at home. That's why, the United States, which is Babylon in the Bible, have many consulates and military bases in most countries. So this is showing that the revealing of Esau, the man of sin. It says he neither keepeth at home. He enlargeth his desire as hell, because he's always in somebody else's business, and he's always bringing death and destruction. And is as death. That's how you know who this man is. When you go back to, let's go to it real quick through the Spirit. Real quick, Revelation, the 6th chapter. It says his desires are as hell, and he is as death himself. Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, speaking of Esau, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And what is that power? Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who and where is he? So that's the power. It says, continuing on, Revelation 64, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword, going back to Genesis. That was a gift of Esau. Going back to Genesis. So when you go back, Esau is that red horse. And the power that was given unto him was the power to kill. So that is his gift is the sword. So when you go back to Habakkuk 2, it says his desire, 2 and 5, is as hell and is as death, and he cannot be satisfied, because this man wants to control the whole world. It says, but gathered unto him all nations, because right here in America, you see it, and you see these Edomites all over the world. They have their flags up in these different nations, showing that they have ownership of these different places. It says, but he gathered all nations and heapeth unto him all people. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, in a taunting proverb? And what are they going to be taunting? Taunting Esau for being destroyed. The epic, we're witnessing the epic, collapse and fall of Babylon the Great. So that's going to be the taunting proverb, which I'll get it later through the Spirit, Lord willing, going into Isaiah the 14th chapter. Isaiah the 14th chapter links with this. Matter of fact, I'll go there, real quick. So this is Isaiah 14. This is what that taunting proverb that it speaks about. When it says, in verse 6, Habakkuk 2 and 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say unto him, and say unto him, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. That's this debt. So Esau is being taunted by the nations. Now, when you go to Isaiah 14, it speaks about, that taunting proverb. So I'll start right here. Isaiah 14 and 4. It says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, which is the elite, which is the elite. It says, and say, how has the oppressor ceased, which is Esau, he's the oppressor, the whole planet. The golden city ceased, which is Babylon, because we're witnessing the epic fall and collapse of Babylon. So we're witnessing the golden city begin to go through the process of being deceased, So we're witnessing, the golden city not being in the process of ceasing anymore, or being deceased, dying, decaying, being destroyed. The infrastructure from within. It says, Isaiah 14:5, the Lord Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So who are those rulers? The international banking elite, these elite families. That is the staff of the wicked, It says, in the scepter of the rulers. Their rulership, we're seeing the fall of the wicked right before our eyes. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. So now we're seeing that. That's why it says there will be a taunting proverb taken against him. It says he's persecuted and none hindereth. No one's going to be able to stop what the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is going to do. So now I'm going to go through a few videos, just to add to the lesson. We're seeing and we're witnessing the epic collapse of Babylon the Great, and we're witnessing, the fall of his system, The
coronavirus has devastated the airline industry. U.S. air travel has dropped 95% compared to last year, and the number of flights scheduled globally is down by
95%. Look at these numbers. Globally, it's down 63%, but it's down 95% in the U.S. That's air travel.
3%. The insides of airports are empty, but outside is another story. While some airlines have started transporting cargo on passenger planes, more than 2/3 of the world's commercial aircraft are grounded.
It's somewhere between 14 and 15,000 aircraft that are parked, or almost 60% of the fleet.
Never before in history have airlines had to ground so many planes so quickly.
Our customers have come to us and said, look, we're parking literally hundreds of aircraft per day. And logistically, it's very, very complex. This is a particular difficult time. And we've created a particular app that literally allows them to virtually park the aircraft.
With no demand for flights, Delta and United reported their first quarterly losses in more than 5 years. American Airlines told CNBC its revenue is down 90% from a year ago. Parking hundreds of aircraft is also adding to their losses. These planes can't just sit idle. They need routine maintenance and a place to be stored. And when you suddenly have thousands of planes with nowhere to go, it becomes a logistical nightmare.
So we see all the different factors that's playing into the fall, of Babylon the Great. That's just one. Here's another before I get back into the precepts.
One immediate problem that millions of Americans are facing is making their rent, as you just heard, or mortgage payment. Nearly a third of people who rented an apartment did not pay any of their rent during the first week of April, according to one analysis. A separate poll found that about half of small businesses have not paid their full rent or mortgage yet either. Paul Solomon looks at the problems renters and landlords are facing. It's part of his reporting for Making Sense.
Come on, do a session with me.
Eunice Bay is an actress. Sporadic, short-term gigs, monthly Manhattan rent.
Dude! I wasn't making a lot of money this winter, and I actually fell behind on rent 1 month.
And then along came COVID-19.
I was actually doing well enough this first quarter that I was on the path to finally being able to pay off that missing month. And then the virus hit, and then everything went away.
With theaters dark everywhere in the country, work non-existent, they quickly called unemployment insurance.
I am one of the lucky few that I got through to unemployment on Monday after 389 calling attempts. Every time I hit the green button, I made a tally mark. And from what I hear, that's a success story.
But successfully filing is another matter entirely.
You need to stipulate each employer their federal employee identification number, and your last day of working. As a gig worker, I had, I think, 11 employers in the last 18 months, but for the work I did this quarter, I haven't gotten any paperwork from them yet because it's not the end of the year. I don't know if I've been approved. I don't know if I'm eligible.
And the average American falls into that category of being a gig worker, which is a person who do multiple different jobs to try to make ends meet. They might work up to 3 or 4 different part-time jobs. And that's what we see, how these missed rent payments, sparking more hardship, financial hardship, which is this hardship is coming to Babylon because of the wickedness of this place.
Don't know how much I'll be getting or when, if at all.
Vase is the plight of tenants everywhere in this country right now.
Would you like a donut?
So much so that Brooklyn landlord Mario Salerno, who also runs a sizable auto repair business, has become a New York hero and local media celebrity for waiving the April rent for his 200 or so tenants.
I had tenants that said they can't work, they didn't have money to pay me. I says, don't worry about paying me. Worry about your neighbor. Worry about your family.
But fellow Brooklyn landlord Chris Athenaeus, 9 buildings, 150 units, says he can't afford such largesse.
My oldest building was built in 1850 when I think Millard Fillmore was president of the United States. We have facades that need to be maintained, and roofs, and plumbing, electrical. It never ends.
Not to mention utilities, staff salaries, and the largest obligation of all,
our mortgage payment, which includes an escrow amount for our real estate taxes. I do fear there's a big drop-off in rent collection. People are not working. They can't pay their rent. Then how will I pay the mortgage?
Jan Lee's family has owned 2 buildings in Manhattan's Chinatown for nearly a century. But the 22 apartments are rent-stabilized, a form of semi-rent control. So his 3 commercial properties subsidize the residential tenants, he says.
And the cosmetic store closed even before the lockdown happened because she also did facials. And obviously, this close, intimate contact, of course, nobody would want to come, and she didn't want to do them either.
His 2 other commercial leases are for restaurants, one of them Hop Key, a Chinatown landmark for over 50 years.
The situation leaves a lot of people with no choice but to close up.
Leaves a lot of people with no choice, he said, but to close up. And that is the reality that you're seeing here in Babylon and around the world, but most importantly here in Babylon. And the reason why is because Esau's created a system, that the world for the most part has followed, because Esau is the dominant power of the world. Once again, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And that system that he's given the world of commerce and capitalism is crumbling, is falling, and trickle-down economics. Look that up. The system of commerce and capitalism and trickle-down economics does not work, and it's falling. Because the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushai said that it would. He said that the wicked was gonna cease from power in the last days. So when you go to 2nd Ezra 6-9, the fall of Esau is the beginning of the coming of Jacob through Yahweh Shai, the rule of Jacob, the rule of you Israelites. So to want to be in league with Esau is to want to be against rulership. That shows you how our people are completely destroyed for lack of knowledge. So Esau, what we're witnessing is the fall of Esau because of the system that he's created and because all of it is done in wickedness. So I'm going to start right here in Ezekiel 18 and get a few precepts. So this is why we see the world that is in turmoil and shambles. It's a reason for all of this, because Esau has ruled treacherously and wickedly. He's ruled, through using, usury, to breaking treaties, all manners of agreements, using disease warfare. He's the only one that's ever used nuclear and atomic, energy to destroy nations. So this is Esau, the man of sin who's ruled. He's the one that's come and taken lands on the 4 corners of the earth by the sword. by death and destruction. So he has to pay up for all of that. The scriptures tell you that the land can't be cleansed of the blood that is shed but by him that shed it. You know, in the book of Numbers, the 35th chapter. So this is the time where Esau, the world is falling because of Esau, but the elect are going to be saved. Ezekiel 18:5. But if a man be just, if Esau was a just man, but if a man be just and do that which is lawful and right, if you did what was lawful, the Holy Scriptures, like you put your hand on the Bible and swear on the Bible, but this man don't keep none of the principles or none of the laws in the Bible, not one. If a man be just and do that which is lawful, which is the Holy Scriptures, and right, and have not eaten up the mountains, these are the nations, neither have lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, neither have defiled his neighbor's wife, neither have come near to a mistress woman, which Esau has done all these things, and have not oppressed any, but have restored to the debtor. Now here we go. Have restored to the debtor. It says, his pledge hath spoiled none by violence, which we know Esau's done that. Esau has spoiled many by violence. Let's get that. Because it says, and have not oppressed any, but have restored to the debtor his pledge, which Esau is in the stick clay right now. You know, going back to Habakkuk 2:6, he's in the stick clay, which once again, when you look that up, is massive debt. You know, it's immense debt. And this debt-based system is falling, is crumbling, of commerce and capitalism, you know, and trickle-down economics. This way, you know, of living is done, it's finished. It's crumbling. So it says, but have restored to the debtor his pledge, which he's not going to give back to those that he's taken from. The lands that he's taken, you know, all of the precious resources, and even the money that, you know, nations like China, that America owes, like China, you know, and Russia, etc. He's not going to give that money back. It says, have spoiled none by violence. If he had not spoiled none by violence, have given his bread to the hungry, and have covered the naked with the garment. See, there's enough money for Babylon, if they were righteous, to feed all the hungry people. Even in America, you got millions of people in America that go hungry every day. You got people that die of hunger in America. How is that? If Esau was a righteous man, you see? So it says, I want to focus on this part right here where it says, and have spoiled none by violence, because Esau had spoiled many by violence. So I'm going to go right here to the book of Micah and show that this doesn't apply to Esau. This is speaking against him as I continue on here in Ezekiel 18. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, speaking of the wicked, the Edomites. When the morning is light, they practice it, which is all their evil, because it is in the power of their hand. Job 9:24, because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's why they do the things they do, because the Most High has given them this power for this short amount of time, because now is the end of it. Verse 2, Micah 2:2, and they covet fields. See, here's the point. And they covet fields. That's what Esau does. And take them by violence. That's why you can go into different parts of Africa and see the French in there, people speaking French. Or in Brazil, people speak Portuguese. Or the natives of his land speaking, you know, in South America, Central South America, Spanish. And here in North America, English. You know, in the different parts, when you go down to the area like New Orleans and that, the Louisiana Purchase, you have a lot of them people speaking Creole, which is going back to the French ruling, and all over the world. So on and so forth. In South Africa, you got Edomites down there, and the people speak, you know, the languages of the Edomites, the Dutch, etc., in English, and all over the world for that matter. Why do you have that? Micah 2:2, because they covet fields, it says, and they take them by violence. So they have the power, which is the technology, which is advanced weaponry, you know, advanced military technology. Back in the ancient times, they had the sword before anyone. When they came to America, they brought the horse here. They brought the horse and the sword and the gun. And that's how they took this land, by violence. And houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So they oppress you and your house, your way of living, your heritage. And they did that to the Native Americans by making them come here, cut their hair, put them in boarding schools, took away their native language, their customs. So that's what they do. That's the MO of the so-called white man, you know? So he's been found out. The man of sin has been revealed, like it says in the 2nd chapter of Thessalonians. So when you go back to Ezekiel, once again, go back to Ezekiel 18. That's what it means when it says here, Ezekiel 18 and 7, when it says, and have spoiled none by violence, have taken his bread to the hungry, and have covered the naked with the garment. He, Ezekiel 18 and 8, he that have not given forth upon usury, see, and that's this wicked system that they have, the system of capitalism. They use capitalism, and that's usury. You know, giving people loans, charging them, you know, double and triple and etc. Charging all this extra, you know, taxes and debts on top of debts. Neither have taken any increase. It says that have withdrawn his hand from iniquity. See, his hand is all in iniquity, because it says, you know, in going back to Micah 2 and 1, it says he worked evil upon his bed and devised iniquity. It says, and have withdrawn his hand from iniquity, which is not speaking about Esau, showing you that the Edomites, they are actually in fact the wicked, hath executed true judgment between man and man. And true judgment is only given through keeping the laws of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, verse 9, Ezekiel 18 and 9, hath walked in my statutes, which you know we haven't done that. But once again, he makes you go in and swear on the Bible. And then he'll say that the Bible is the law of the land. And hath kept my judgments to deal truly. He is just. If he had done that, he would be just and be justified in the sight of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He shall surely live, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, thy power. So he would, if he truly was doing these things, and he was doing righteousness on the earth, then the Most High said he would surely live. He would be in power. But he is not. So this is what is coming to him. Ezekiel 18 and 10. If he begat a son that is a robber and a shedder of blood, and that doeth the like to any one of these, verse 11, and that doeth not any of these duties, but even hath eaten up the mountains, going back to Esau, not living peaceably among all men. It says, and defiled his neighbor's wife. And he did that literally, you know, and figuratively. When he came here, he defiled his neighbor's wives by doing what? By raping the Native American and Latino women and Judah Benjamin Levi, the slaves, the Negroes that was brought over here, by having sex with the women, going back to Deuteronomy 28. So that's what Esau did. He did defile his neighbor's wife, showing you that this, what we're reading here, speaks against Esau and shows why, you know, America's in shambles and why, you know, Babylon is fallen. Verse 12, Ezekiel 18 and 12, hath oppressed the poor and needy, hath spoiled by violence. He's done all these things. Hath not restored the pledge, and hath lifted up his eyes to the idols, hath committed abominations. And those are plenty of abominations we can speak of, showing that. Buck breaking, gator bait, burning the Most High's people at the stake. You know, the eugenics program, that's to force, you know, inoculations on the people, keeping them from being able to reproduce. All different forms of abominations, you know. You know, the scriptures say, curses the man that stealeth the man that selleth them. Doing all these different things. Breaking all the treaties. So Esau is a walking abomination. Ezekiel 18 and 13. Have given forth upon usury and have taken increase. He's done all these things. Shall he then live? That's a question being asked. If any is to do all these things, shall they live? Will this be pleasing to the Heavenly Father? Would this be allowed to be forgiven? Would this, you know, this type of behavior, and wickedness is done before the eyes of the Lord, because remember the Lord said the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the good and the evil. So will the Lord allow this to happen, and there be no punishment? He shall not live. No, there's going to be punishment, because the Most High is going to, cut off the root of Esau, which is his lineage. It says, he have done all these abominations, he shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. So he's going to surely die, and his blood is going to be upon him. That's going to be the actual, end game of Esau. So we're witnessing the epic collapse of Babylon, and it's starting through this thick clay. You saw those planes that was grounded. People can't pay their rent. So there's nothing, but more judgment that's coming to this place, Babylon. So anybody that's joined into this place, they're going to fall by the sword. They're going to fall right here with Babylon. So Esau's blood is upon him. Esau's blood is upon him, and we're seeing that. Let's go to the book of Amos real quick. Let's go to the book of Amos 1. Amos 1, start at verse 9. So we're witnessing Esau's blood being upon him, which is the fall of his kingdom, which is a pretty shitty kingdom, in fact. Amos 1:9, and it reads, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant. See, Esau didn't remember the brotherly covenant. He's supposed to be our brother. He's supposed to do right by his brother and be at peace with his brother, but he was not, because he has a perpetual hatred. And when you read in the scriptures, Amos 1:10, but I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the places thereof. So the Most High is going to destroy, anywhere the Edomites are in their structure of living, in the name, the scripture saying the remnant. They're not going to be able to fill the face of the world with cities anymore when you read Isaiah the 14th chapter, etc. Amos 1:11, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, so this is for the wickedness of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So the Most High is not going to turn away the punishment. I got a quick precept showing that the Most High Yahweh is not going to turn away the punishment. Once again, I'll read it again. It says, Amos 1:11, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh thy power, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. And why is the Lord not going to turn away the punishment? James 2:13, and it reads, for he shall have judgment without mercy, that have shown no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. So we're in the beginning of seeing this mercy that the Lord is going to give to the elect, and ultimately to the nation of Israel, but to the elect on this side, that's who's going to get saved. Mercy is going to rejoice against judgment. Going back to Amos 1:9. It says, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant. But I will send a fire on the walls of Tyrus, which shall devour the places thereof. Thus saith the Lord power, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother, speaking of Jacob, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and confusion of face brothers that go back to the seed, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. He didn't pity Jacob. He still don't pity Jacob to this day. And his anger did tear perpetually. See, he has a perpetual hatred, perpetual anger, and he kept his wrath forever. See, Esau has kept his wrath, continually. Verse 12, but I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the places of Basra. Speaking of Esau, the capital city of Esau, Basra, which modern day Basra is America. But it's going to be the whole system that's going to be destroyed. So Esau, the man of sin, is being revealed. He is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Malachi 1:4 tells you that he's the border of wickedness. Esau is the border of wickedness. So Esau names the different nations, when you read Psalms 49:11, after his name. showing, once again, revealing who the wicked is. So now we'll go to Luke. Salakia. I'm gonna go to the book of Job. Job 20 and 5. It says that the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. So the triumphing of the wicked is short. So we're seeing the fall of Esau because the triumphing of the wicked is very short, you know? So that's why Esau is falling fast now. Verse 6, Job 20 and 6. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, so his technology going into outer space, that's showing his excellency, which is his technology, mount up to the heavens, and his head reach up to the clouds. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. Esau is going to perish like his own feces. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And that's what we're coming into. The fall, the epic fall and collapse of Babylon, you know, through this thick clay is going to lead the nations to saying, where is he? What happened? You know, so he shall fall like his own dung, which this also precepts with Isaiah the 14th chapter again. I've been quoting that chapter a little bit. Let's get to it. Isaiah 14, got a few more precepts. Isaiah 14 and verse, here it is right here. And 10. Isaiah 14 and 10 says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Speaking of Esau, the fall of Esau. You know, are you like unto us? Are you just like, you know, anybody else? You don't have the power no more? It says, Isaiah 14:11, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, showing Esau is going to be brought very low, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Speaking of the Luciferians, when you look up this word, which are the illuminated ones, which will be the elites. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground? How has the rulership of Esau been brought down to nothing? Which we saw that through the, you know, through this article and through the video showing how Babylon is collapsing, which did is weaken the nations. See, Esau was the one that weakened the nations. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend unto heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, speaking of his technology and space explorations. I will be like the Most High. That's the way that he shows or tries to show that he is the Most High. That he is, you know, the Most High and not the Most High. He tries to put, you know, his technology above, you know, the truth of the Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell to the sides of the pit. And they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, speaking of the nations, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake nations or did shake kingdoms? So that's what we're getting to. Is this the man that did shake kingdoms? You know? Because it says they will narrowly see thee. Meaning the nations, Esau will be diminished before the nations. So you go back to Job. Go back to Job 20. Go back to Job 20 and verse 5 when it says the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, because Esau is the hypocrite. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, which we precept that in Isaiah 14, and his head reach up to the clouds, Isaiah 14 spoke about that. You know, how he would ascend up to the clouds and be like the Most High. Yet shall he perish like his own dung. It says, they which have seen him shall say, where is he? That's why they're going to say, where is he? Because Esau is going to be destroyed. When you go to, I'm going to quote at Job 18, it tells you that he's not going to have neither son nor nephew, nor root nor branch. His whole lineage is going to be destroyed. So, got another precept or two, and I'm going to wrap it up. This is the book of Luke. Luke, the 10th chapter. So this is Luke 10 in verse 16. It reads, He that heareth you heareth me, speak this Yahushua speaking, and he that despiseth you despiseth me. And he that despiseth me despiseth him that sent me. So those who hear these words, which is being pushed in the four corners of the earth, the nations and all the people, they hear the Most High. They hear Yahushua and the Most High. Verse 17, Luke 10:17, and the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. So, everything in this universe is subject, unto us through the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Verse 10. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So he was seeing the fall, of the power structure, the power seat of Esau. Once again, the Satan means adversary. Speaking about, in context, is speaking about the fall, of the Edomites in the last days. The spiritual demon Satan is going to fall as well. But the power that he's given on the earth, the man of sin, is Esau. So it says, Yahushua said, and I said to him, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And I bring this up because I want to make mention of it real quick by giving this precept. Because it says, I see Satan fall from heaven. So I'm going to give a quick precept. This is the book of Psalms 37. Because he said, I saw Satan, fall from heaven as lightning. So this is what King David was speaking about when you go back to the book of Psalms. Psalms 37 and verse 35, and it reads, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. This is what, King David was speaking about. So Yahushua, King David was foreshadowing what Yahushua spoke about, what we just read in the book of Luke, which is the wicked was falling fast like lightning. So King David said he saw the wicked spread himself like a green bay tree. And I bring this point up to show that the wicked has spread himself, and he spread himself then, and now we're witnessing the fall of the wicked. So going back to Luke, close this out. This is Luke 10 and verse 17, and it reads, or verse 18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So that's the end game of Esau. I'm going to go ahead and bring out Job real quick through the Spirit, 18. So this is Satan falling. The epic collapse of Babylon is Satan, the adversary, the wicked on the earth, falling. I'm going to pick it up here. This is Job 18 and 14. It's my last precept. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle. So Esau is losing his confidence day by day as he sees his enterprise, his kingdom falling and his rule. And it shall bring him to the king of terrors. The king of terrors is Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the Most High Yahweh. He's the king of terrors. So he's sending Yahushua, his son, to terrorize Esau. And it shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. See, this world really don't belong to Esau. It said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Not the earth is ruled and it belongs to the wicked. It's only given for a short time. Because the scriptures tell you, the Lord said that he rule in the kingdom of men, and he giveth it to whomsoever he will. Matter of fact, quoted, I'm going to get it. This is the book of Daniel. It's the book of Daniel 4 and 17. That's what I quoted. Daniel 4 and 17, it reads, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, which is the elect, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. And that's what the elect, in sincerity and truth do. They go to the four corners of the earth and let the world know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men here on earth, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So rulership, the Most High gives to whoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of men. So now we see the basis of men ruling the earth. So going back to Job 18, just to finish it off. Job 18, starting back at, let's see, Job 18 and 14. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors, who shall Hashem Yahushua. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be cast upon his habitation, which is those nuclear missiles. His roots shall be dried up, which is his lineage, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. So the Edomites are going to be chased out of the world. Verse 19, he shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. It says, they that come after him shall be astonished at this day, as that they went before were frightened. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High. Showing you that the wicked will not do or keep none of the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Well, last precept showing that the wicked won't do that. This is Revelation, the book of Revelation, the 9th chapter. The wicked know not the Most High. Revelation 9 and verse 20. And it says, and the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works, because the scriptures tell you that the Lord's going to allow, a remnant, the elites of the nations to be hid in those underground bunkers and in different parts, up in the atmosphere and in the ocean, etc. It says, yet repented not of their works, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. So they would have to acknowledge that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is the only power, but they won't do that. Verse 21, Revelation 9 and 21, neither repented they of their murders, of all the wickedness that they did on the earth, to the children of Israel and to the earth, nor of their sorceries, all the wickedness, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. So that's why Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is allowing Babylon to fall, and we're witnessing the epic collapse and fall of Babylon the Great. So with that, I hope that was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua by saying, Call Allah Yamla, Allah Yahweh Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles. Peace and blessings be to the hopeful elect. Habayaf Madawadah, the house of David, and to the Akim and Akwafim who listen and believe on Yahweh Shem Yahushua. To you I say, I send salutations and say shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.